It is Get Valiant number 161. Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
One.
Here we are. This is the one. This is the one.
It
we've been
only
waiting
gets
for.
bigger. Or he depends on what's your cup of tea. So
Hey,
yeah, right?
no judgment
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
That's what they
Exactly.
said.
It only gets
Yeah.
bigger. All right.
To talk about a final, have kind of waited quite a while to talk about, so that'll be interesting to get into those. And then we get to talk.
This episode is called Get
Well, Faith.
Faith in Valiant.
Get faith. Valiant.
Faint. So cool. And on the chat, we got Scott Bloom and Sean Hayes joining us already, guys. So thank you for joining us. Keep those chats live as we rock. But yeah, let's jump into books right away. What do you guys say?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
absolutely. We got to talk about. So hopefully everybody's read them by now. We'll go tomorrow to number 4. So talking about Visitor, I think I've said this before. Like, I mean, I don't know. I hate to say it, but I kind of was. This book is not what I was expecting story-wise. I think the art is phenomenal. Story-wise, it's just not the mystery that I was expecting it to be. I think that it's revealing a lot. There's still some weird stuff happening. Like, we know who the Visitor is, and I was kind of thinking that we wouldn't find out until the last issue and that it would be a bigger reveal than what it has been. So I'm kind of curious to see how this thing wraps in 5 or 6 issues.
So it's going to be 6.
I thought it was
going to be 6. I think it was originally
so we
originally
still
set to be 5, and then I think they extended it an issue.
Okay. I mean, it will be interesting to see where it goes from here. It was not a nothing issue or by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that my preference for the story is
but probably 3 better. I don't know. There's not a lot going on. Like, my favorite part of this whole book was like when the guy got thrown on the helicopter.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's cool. It's written badly. I don't think it's bad.
I'm going to have to agree with that statement.
That's all.
Wrong.
Oh, on the
I wanna
covers,
say that I was wrong.
on the
My
covers
bad
it says
there.
Diego Rodriguez. That's interesting.
Oh, I see how it is.
So,
Yeah.
and in the issue it says
I just looked in the issue for the official.
Areola. So I wish they'd get it right.
No, I definitely think that we're all on the same page here. I think that the story has left a bit to be desired, but the art has been really, really solid. I will totally agree that the dude getting thrown out of the helicopter was
Yeah, I'm gonna
was the
like
highlight
with
of
this
this
issue and with
issue.
this book in general. It's kind of interesting because we pretty much guessed what what they're working on from the beginning, right? So for a mystery book, it kind of gave us one thing right out the beginning, but it's interesting to still what the Visitor is planning on doing while he's there. So it's really, I think that's kind of the aspect of what's going to happen in the next 2 issues. It's interesting to see that this detective lady is kind of, she's got some biotech to her on her leg. So I think that's pretty interesting. The art, like you guys said, was good. There was a couple panels that looked a little interesting, particularly detective person, the face. But for the majority of it, it did look good. And I do like the palette that's being used as far as colors. And Yeah, all around. It's well written. It's very dense in story as far as there's quite a bit of dialogue going. There's a lot going on. And they're not quick reads by any means. None of the visitors so far have been easy skim through books. You've had to sit down and read them and go through them. So it's definitely not a spoon fed book either, even though being Valiant fans, we kind of guessed what they were talking about. But all around, like, I hope it's picking up. It seems like they've done a lot to build the story to get it to where it's at right now. And I hope we just see a good payoff in the next act of this book that's coming up, the next 2 issues. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they hinted that the next reveal is really cool stuff. But if it's just like I kind of think I'll just be like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, they've revealed that the visitor is that future.
Right, yeah. We'll have that all updated. Give us just a quick second, guys. But it sounds like it's somewhat working, but we're going to get the properties fixed here. Not the video, but the audio properties. Give me a second. Go ahead and keep going to the best you guys can right now.
Visitor is the guy from the future who was had that he's a positron. That is who the video or whatever the positron from the future who is come his companion's death. At least certainly that on circle on his forehead. As I can tell, that seems to be yes.
Nice. And those of you on the chat, if you could let us know how Josh and Eric are sounding right now, I'd appreciate that.
Not spoken since.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. I've updated a couple things. Hopefully that moves everything. Ow now, brown cows.
Hello. I don't know if we're still cutting out there. Hopefully it's working a little bit better now. Yeah, Scott's asking if we use Skype. It is
All right.
through Skype. Yeah. Hopefully we've got a little bit better audio now. But yeah, it seems like the visitor is that positron that came from the future and came back into the past to stop his partner, his companion from being killed. That seems to be the case as far as I can tell. And I think a lot of us were expecting it to be a bigger reveal than that.
Yeah, I think so too. I was hoping it would have been, just somebody different. You know what I mean? Somebody existing. And maybe there's more of a relation, and that's going to be revealed even more. So a second layer that's going to happen. So, yeah, but still some of it. And part of it is having to kind of retouch base on this because we read it in early March. And it kind of felt like, not, I don't know, easily forgettable. Not that it's bad, but yeah.
Yeah, again, I think that the art is the strongest part of this series, really. Though I think that the art is much more solid. For me, I don't know. It's hard for me to score this book. I think that it's probably um, like a 3.25. The um, the writing just needs a little bit more. I don't know, something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would score this about a 3. I really like the art, and I almost want to go a bit higher just because of that. I mean, I really like how this book looks, both in the pencils and the color. But it's just the story is just not very exciting. And when the only real excitement in the book is a guy getting thrown out of a helicopter, and that's all I even care about in this whole book, it just doesn't really. It's just not a very memorable book right now. But there's still 2 more issues to go, and maybe it reads better together. But so far, it's just been a little too slow.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be giving it roughly 3. Like I said, it's not a bad book. It's kind of been forgettable. It is reading slow, and I'm just, like I say, hoping to see what the third act has for us to close it out with the last 2 issues, the last third of this book. So, and seeing what this has within, how this sets up further with New Japan, and what this kind of leads into is really what excites me. What has me looking for more. So I would believe that Paul Levitz is doing something to hopefully advance the universe a little bit for continuity down the way.
And if that turns out to be what it is, I think that that'll be a lot more interesting and a lot more exciting, and that'll make the book better. And it'll be one of those situations where, the book will read better as a whole. It'll read better as a solid contained thing than getting it monthly. And unfortunately, it's one of the books that's gotten interrupted, with the whole COVID crisis. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens once we've actually got the rest of the story and how we feel about it then.
Oh, what?
Yep.
Yeah, I think what Sean is saying makes sense. It's a bit slow and it needs a big punch out ending to make it matter to the universe. And hopefully that's what we get. I think that there is a big reveal that's still coming regarding what the Japanese in this book are working on. And whether that's some precursor to Father and what that means to the universe. And, I think that there are a lot of things that could be done with that. It just remains to be seen what exactly will be done.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Tomorrow? Yeah?
That one. Number deuce.
Yeah, I really was such a super solid. I was trying to say both of those words and put them into one. It's a super solid book. The art I really like. I think it's a little bit more cartoony than a lot of other Valiant books, but I think it works for the feel of this. It works with the writing style of this book. It feels like a superhero book, and it looks like a superhero book. And we're getting this big team up. We're getting really high stakes. It's just a super fun coming of age story with that superhero aspect to it. There's a sci-fi piece to it. There's just so much going on in this book. It feels like you really couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, it's almost hard to even talk about it after what Eric said about it, because I feel exactly the same way, where I don't have anything negative about this book really, except for the fact that we're going to be waiting a long time to read the next part of it.
Yeah.
But it was great to see Neela and Ankh show up, and we were getting, like, at the end of this issue, we kind of get the beginning of like a big brouhaha between everyone. And I think that last page, even though it's a little cartoony, but that shot of just all the like Valiant heroes getting ready to like face off, I thought it looked great. It was just a cool image, a cool way to end the issue. And I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of like crazy stuff to this book. And I mean, one thing I think about is I'm just like, how much do like the stakes really matter? Like, but I really like this issue a lot. The art could be just a little bit not as, I don't know how to even say it, like not as like, I don't even know how to even say how I would want it to be, but a little more detailed maybe. But it's a great issue, and so far we got 2 issues in, and we need this thing. We need Valiant just to send us like at least the next issue, just so we can kind of know what's going on here.
Yeah, I guess I could say one thing that I've heard from Valiant fans about this book and about this title is that they dislike that it opens up the ability for Dead is Dead to kind of go away with this multiple universe piece. And I kind of get that to a point. I guess I wonder with the story, which Earth are we actually on? I think we're at present day Valiant because the way they're asking about Ivar. So that is one piece. But I'm really wondering that piece. I enjoy this book a lot. And I think it's fun, it's entertaining, and it's got you really wanting to keep going for it, right? So this book is... it's a cool character. It's very bright. It's vibrant. It does hit that, traditional superhero kind of feel to it. I like that we're getting some characters that we haven't seen for a while in there. But like I think Josh said, like on what the stakes I kind of are. I mean, I think we saw Ninjak get his head blown off in the very third, fourth panel of this book in number 1. But it was in a different basically universe within this and parallel universe, whatever we want to call it. And so that's where it leaves me. I do kind of get that sentiment of I hope it's still Dead is Dead within the universe and we're not getting a ways to bring people back, because that's one of the unique things about our universe, about Valiant Universe.
I think hold on. I was gonna say Sean Hayes brings up a good point, and I always want to chime in with this a little bit, but I don't know how serious people take Quantum and Woody, but Quantum and Woody already established different universes, and fucking Thomas Edison came back from death. He's a gigantic. Dead doesn't necessarily mean dead. I mean, I would get it if they say.
Right.
Flamingo, who suffered just
right. Because we had that conversation offline, the 3 of us, about the dead side also has that possibility, but it hasn't really done it. So that's kind of the same thing. So,
I mean, the possibility is there, but it hasn't happened, and I really am glad that Sean brought. Because it's what I've been trying to, I don't know, it's what I've been thinking the entire time versus a long time ago. So if people have a problem with that, then they should have been, this book is creating parallel universes in the Valiant universe, right? That as reality into already a real thing a long time for it. I do think that what this book does, it does well. It hits exactly what it's trying to hit, right? This book is trying to be a superhero book. Check. This book is trying to have some humor. Check. It's got a lot of really little funny moments in it. This book is trying to be a coming of age story. Check. It's nailing that. Every little thing, every aspect that this book is trying to get to and trying to get across, it's hitting it right in the nail, right on the head every single time. So for me, this is a huge success. Unless something happens that makes me really hate this book for the next, I think this is a 5-issue story. So, yeah. Is that right? So unless something happens in the next 3 issues that makes me really change my opinion drastically, I think that
we are only in issue number 2. So
in the I don't like to get too high. Could be completely a high watermark for the Valiant universe. I think that this is knocking out of a baseball metaphor and I cannot wait to see where the next issue goes.
Oh, I was so hoping you would say something like, "This book's a total touchdown." What's baseball? Did you score it? What was your score?
Oh, I didn't give a score. I would solid 4.5 out of 5. I think that the art is there, the story is there, and this is what I want to read out of comic books. And I just cannot wait to see what comes next.
Yeah, I've been sitting here in my head trying to be like, is this a 4 or a 4.5? I love the book. I really do like it. And my only qualm really is just like sometimes I don't like the art as much. But I'm just going to say it's about a 4.25 just to be safe. One thing I do like about this, though, is I do feel like the villain is like an actual bad dude who is a legit threat. We've seen that from the first 2 issues. And I'm the kind of person that kind of complains about this quite a bit, where I'm like, I want the villains to rise to the moment. I want them to be bad. I don't want them just to seem like mediocre. Like, we're talking about. I always had a problem with the fact that in Faith, I always had the villains just kind of weak, So I feel like here, like the villain, he's legit.
Yep. And Josh, were you thinking it was kind of reminding you a little bit of like manga art? Is that what you were kind of maybe referencing a little bit?
No, I don't know what I'm even thinking. But I mean, I just wish like, here's the thing, the art's very clean. It's got a really cool style. I just wish that like for like a Valiant book, I think maybe like where my expectations of a Valiant title show me some higher level of detail is maybe what it is. But that said, it still looks really good. I mean, it's just a preference thing.
No, that's good.
That's all.
I enjoyed the story. I'm liking everything so far. I like just the ideas of how he's flying. I like the way it connects within the baseball stadium and the way they connect getting Time Walker and connecting it with current universe and kind of seeing the issues that they're having in different universes and how it kind of lines up with Bart, the older Bart, not knowing that Ivar's dead, and just kind of those aspects of it were really cool. And it really kind of shows the connection within even the dimensional universe that it's been there, but it wasn't like a forced, like, retcon type of feel to it. Because we need more Ivar in this world, and we need to see where those two have connected and things like that. I liked it. I enjoy it, and I would be giving this probably like a 4.25 as well. It's been an enjoyable read each time we've read it. So the first 2 issues, a couple more to go, and one thing that's fun is like I like Alejandro, and he was a former editor at Valiant, and one thing that was cool is when they talked about this week's Valiant Heroes, they asked who would sing karaoke best. And right away he posted, he goes, well, Ninjak, he already has like on issue number 1 of Ninjak. And it is funny to know that Ninjak had it, but we had a different winner though. But I thought that was cool of Alejandro, who's the writer of this, former Valiant editor. So he's got some pretty good knowledge of the universe and has kind of that piece on call. So I think that's awesome when you have a writer that has that ability.
Yeah. I thought it was, it's a good transition into talking about the hero of the week. I think it's awesome that Alejandro cares about the Valiant universe and remembers things that are going on in the Valiant universe. And I think that Ninjak was a solid choice for who would win in a karaoke contest, but my immediate reaction to who would win was Faith. I think Faith would put the most passion and heart into a karaoke performance. So that's why I think she would be the one that would win. What
song would she sing, Eric?
I don't know. That's such a difficult question to answer. I really like Jody Houser's.
Guar?
Huh? No. No, I would love to see Faith do like a legit death metal song or something like that. That'd be amazing. Like just something super brutal.
But saying awesome. Super brutal, but saying sweet nothings.
Yeah. No, I like Jody Houser's answer that Faith would rope Archer into a
Summer Lovin'.
No, never-ending story to
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I could see her doing an Adele song to Torque. Never mind, I'll find someone like. Yeah, I wish nothing but. Yeah, excuse me, I'm singing now. Sorry.
Now we just need to have an entire episode of you singing
Yep.
Adele.
But
Apparently,
I was looking for Ivar. I think Ivar would have had the. I think he would have had it. You know, his time travel, he would have known some really cool stuff. He's probably got a wide range of music that he could have went with, and he could have sang some Cyndi Lauper time after time. But that wasn't the case, and Ninjak wasn't going kung fu fighting. And but we got Faith, and Faith is a cool character. And one thing about Faith is she is the most winning Valiant Hero so far. 3 times she has been somewhat related into the Valiant Hero of the Week. Either Josh has got a weird stare, he's frozen, I'm not sure.
yeah,
he may have some internet stuff going on. But yeah, she's now won with Harbinger, well, connected with Pete Stanchek and with Unity, and now on her own. So she is doing something, and I think that's pretty cool. So good for her. And Faith has been a great character for Valiant, and she has stood out, and she is one of the noticeable that some people that may not know Valiant will call out Faith when you talk about Valiant.
Yeah, I think that Faith is a pretty well-known character, and for good reason. She's an awesome character. So I'm stoked to see her get the Hero of the Week. As much as I would love to see Ninjak win or Ivar, and we could talk about those characters, I do think that Faith is an awesome character. She is somebody that appeals to more than just, 35-year-old white dudes. So definitely is a character that a lot of people can get into. So can we get into our Faith stories?
I think we can. One of the things that was cool about Faith was, I don't know if you ever saw the old interviews with Dinesh when he talked about the script that Hooser put together, and he talks about Faith ramming into a helicopter and in the middle of that story. So it sounded really cool. And that's why the other song I would have had her singing Miley Cyrus, like a wrecking ball or something, came in like a wrecking ball, which would be fun. But one of my favorite Faith stories is what was with her with Harbinger. I love Harbinger, but I like this activation story with Pete activating her and her just having this extreme excitement about being a superhero. We get into her Faith Herbert blog. We get into her just being excited that she can fly and coming to the heart of who a superhero is, which is cool. Because she's like, what if one of us got superhero powers? Versus everybody who wants to get rid of them. Like, oh my God, I have this horrible thing that happened to me. But she's got this great ability and this super cool mindset of who she is. She's a dork, she's a geek, and she owns it, which I love. And I think a lot of us can respect that, being, geeks ourselves to a degree or completely. And I dug it. And I liked the way this tied into a smooth story, and it turned her being a character, and it activated her in a way that seemed, Dysart did a great job of making it like a true authentic piece where you really saw it come in together smooth. And so I dug that. And I liked the way that all played out with her run within Harbinger. It was interesting, her and her Torque little thing that they had. And then another piece that I like, because I didn't necessarily have one story arc for sure, but I do like her and Archer's just relationship. That's one thing that I just wanted to call that out. Just her teaching this, this kid about culture, about, just they're sitting there like reviewing like just everything, right? Like she's introducing him to the world of geekdom and to a kid that never experienced it before. And so I just dug that because it just reminds you some of the relationships that we may have when we're trying to introduce somebody to Valiant or to Comic-Con or to Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever your geekdom is. And it just really gave me a cool piece of that, and I liked it. And but yeah, Faith is a cool character. I dug the way she was introduced into the universe, and yeah, so that's kind of where I was sitting with some Faith.
Yeah, a superhero, and then Pete activates her. and she has this moment that I think a lot of us would have with like, wait a minute, I actually have superpowers now. This is unbelievable. This is amazing, and then moving forward from there and being a superhero, and then like you said, there's a lot of she had her relationship with Torque, which I never really understood. I always thought that was kind of weird. I get it though, like he's not what we see, and she kind of saw past his outer shell, right? And to the kid that was inside, and I think that that's who she was in a relationship with, and that I get that, but I do think that it makes a lot more sense from my perspective, in my opinion. It makes way more sense for her to be in a relationship with somebody like Archer. I think that I think that that is a perfect matchup, the two of them. And like you said, there's a lot of us in that with, her introducing him to geekdom, her taking him to his first Comic-Con, her, showing him The Princess Bride for the first time. Like there's just so many of those awesome moments that you could really only have with a character like Faith.
Yep. And I guess one of the cool things is you go back to The Far Away with Archer and Armstrong, and you have Ivar come in there, and Ivar is sitting there, or Archer's sitting there upset about, I forget who he was in love with, and then Ivar goes, "What? Wait, is Faith okay?" And they're like, "What do you mean, Faith?" And so it's like, oh, a little bit later. So even with Fred Van Linte there was that continuity of these two together. And that's kind of the piece of Valiant I loved, was just those little hidden gems that were coming down the way, that if you were reading, you saw them before they got there, right? And it was just cool. So I dug that about it. Great character into that manner. So yeah, you want to get into yours? It looks like Josh is trying to load his computer.
Yeah.
Let's get over into yours. I have you right there.
Boom, Faith in the Future Force. So for me, when I think of Faith, I think of superhero-ness, right? Like Faith is a superhero. Faith is being a superhero, and that is the essence of who she is. And I think that, she absolutely embodies being a superhero. So it makes sense to me that in a story like Faith in the Future Force, when it's essentially a story of Neela trying to find a hero that can save all of time and reality. Hey.
I don't know what the hell happened.
Neither do we. Did you jump on a different computer or something? Nope, you're there.
Yeah.
Same computer.
Yeah, we're getting into Faith in the Future Force. So I really enjoyed going back and rereading this story. I think that this is, like I said, quintessential Faith. This is Faith being a hero when reality needs a hero, and she's willing to go up, and even when she knows that the odds aren't in her favor, she's willing to put it all on the line anyway. And then toward the end of the story, when it's clear that just punching their way through the problem enough, Faith is the one that has the idea of like, look, there's other ways that villains can be defeated, and she goes and kind of makes the sacrifice of relying on someone who has hurt her and bringing them into the fold, with Chris Criswell, in order to have him come in and be the one that convinces this toaster looking robot, to not destroy all of reality.
I'm glad you liked it, because this book wasn't for me. But I'm glad you liked it. I think after they repeated the thing the third or fourth time, I was kind of done for it. But I could see why you like it. I could see the funness in that, the fun that was being happening there. I like the jokes of her being so excited. I need you in time, and I've been waiting forever to hear this, and just her Doctor Who kind of quotes and references was super fun, and something a geek would do in this manner. And I dug that. I thought that was great. Of the minis of hers that have came out, I liked one of the more recent one with Dreamside. I thought Faith Dreamside was really good. I think Scott Bloom mentioned that earlier. But yeah, and Jodie's been all over it. I think it's been great, and I think Jodie's done a good job. It's at one of those points. Sometimes you want to see somebody go forever on a book like Dysart, but sometimes it's also good to get that other voice, that other piece in there. But we had Faith have another voice before too with Dysart and now Jodie. So I'd like to see what they have what they have plans for her within. Maybe it's the new Harbinger story that's coming out, or if they're going to kind of divide that up and have her go on to her own thing, or if she'll come back with Unity down the way. Yeah.
I thought, I was going to say real quick, I thought the covers on Future Force were great. There's a ton of great looking covers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially that one that is the painting of her face and then the smudged colors. I don't know why, but that one looks amazing. And there's so many great team up covers with Faith and the whole Valley universe, supporting her. A lot of people are saying that they really like Faith Dreamside more, and I totally get that. I think Faith Dreamside is a good story. I really like Animalia, and Animalia is pretty prominent in that story, so I definitely don't have anything against Faith Dreamside. And I wouldn't necessarily say Faith in the Future Force is my absolute favorite Faith story. I just think that when we're talking about Hero of the Week, I really want to get into what's a story that I would point to and say, this is quintessential so-and-so, and I think that this is quintessential Faith. This is Faith being a hero when the world needed a hero.
Josh, did you want to talk about a little bit of Faith yourself?
I did. So, the one that I always thought, like the one, like when we talk about like our favorite Faith stories, my favorite one is the original miniseries that Jodie did with Francis Portella, where they kind of establish her as more of a Clark Kent type character, but like it's just like so on the nose like Clark Kent, and but there's a little mystery going down like in California where there's all these missing kids, and it ends up being a thing with a bunch of vinelings. And there's a lot of things I liked about this. For one, I like the fact that there's a moment in here, and this is just such a me thing, but I love the fact that there's a moment where she just totally fucking tells Torque he sucks, more or less. Because fuck Torque, always. But they have a really rad team up with Archer at the very end of it. Torque comes to his senses, even though who gives a shit. But it's a beautiful looking book. I think it's a lot of fun with her. It's a great, fun solo adventure for her. 4 issues of it. It's I want to say it's like the first time we really got something like that with her. There was just the one, the 0 issue with Harbinger, the Harbinger Faith one shot. But I love the miniseries. And I think that Jodie really has a great feel for the character. It starts here, and obviously they've kept having her come back to write the character just because she does have a great voice for the character. But I kind of like what you guys have been saying in the chat. It's kind of hard to talk about being the last person up. Where so many things have been said that I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. Like I do think that Faith and Archer are a great couple. And I think that Faith is just like so many of us, where she's not like the perfect looking person, but she's
what are you talking about?
I hope I would have is like an awesome personality, and, she's so much in like the same things that all of us are into, I feel like I think Eric has said this before, and maybe you have too, John, but I just feel like she's the kind of person that if you met her in real life, she would be your friend because there'd be so many things you'd have in common, and none of those things are even what she is as a superhero. Like I think that's what's so compelling about the character is that everything about her is like just who she is, before she puts on the costume, before she flies up and saves someone, she's such a likable character. And I think that's not always the case with superhero comics. There's so many superhero comics I can think of where I'm like, I wouldn't give 2 shits about the person underneath the cowl or underneath the mask. I don't think Bruce Wayne would be that interesting, right. But Faith is just such a down-to-earth character. This story of her dealing with the Vine, I think, is awesome. And I also like the fact that it was kind of a time when someone else's villain showed up in another person's book for them to deal with, because the Vine normally deal with Auric and X-O Manowar. Faith got to have a crack at them. It's just an awesome story. I didn't always love the newspaper she worked for, but it did grow on me as like her ongoing went on. And if I wouldn't have picked this one, I would have picked the Faithless story. But I do think that one's good, even though all of her villains kind of stink. It's been my biggest critique of her. I mean, like, she's cool. I mean, she doesn't need to have I guess she doesn't really need to have like a bunch of murderers, cutthroats to face off with. But I thought that they were also really rad when they were all put together as a group, like her own little Sinister Six. Yeah. I thought Murder Mouse, or whatever his name was, he was actually the best one at the end of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff.
There was some cool pieces with that. I love the kind of spoof on Chris Criswell being, all of Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Chris whatever. And I kind of liked that. That was kind of funny, that tie-in with today's world with movies. I think she was fun, and she when I meet people at that cosplay as Faith, like, it really sometimes feel like you're actually talking to Faith because they're fans, and that's the character of Faith, which is so cool. And it's kind of just a cool little feeling to kind of come across these people dressed up because they're just pumped up about the character, and and it maybe generalizing, they're all fun, they're all nice, they're happy people. And I guess that's what Faith attracts, and that's really a cool vibe that comes along with character. The Hollywood and Vine was a great one. It did remind me of a little bit of like a DC feel, like you said. I like the gossip thing instead of a newspaper or a police station, that it was with the gossip news column or website. That was kind of interesting, and to do the report on herself. And they started building up this group of supporting cast with her on her own. That was great, and I did like the trying to build a rogues gallery that worked for her. So I dug that there was that attempt to really put that together, because I think that's been one of the things that people have said is there needs to be more villains that stick around with Valiant, and Faith has that with her books that are there, whether they're great or not. They're there, and they're being attempted, and they're still kind of somewhat of a threat for her in the background. So yeah, I want to see more crack at it. Like I said, I want to see her with the Harbinger team. That's ideally one of my favorite ones, and I just like the negativity of Pete pretty much, and Torque, and then her offset with that. It is a counterbalance.
Yeah. I think if they do anything with her, I want to see Faith. I think if you do a Faith book, if it's just like a Faith series, it needs to be her solo adventures away from them. But if you have Harbinger, she has to be a part of it. She's a part of that dynamic, and she does kind of balance out a lot of the darkness that you get from Pete. And she's just such an integral part of it to me. One thing I do want to say before we move past this is one of my favorite parts about Hollywood and Vine also is Marguerite Sauvage's little sequences that happen within every issue, the little fantasy moments that Faith has. Man, I mean, they're just so incredible, and they do kind of break it up. And, even though it's not like the most serious book, it does really add an extra little level of charm to the story. And I think it really shows how good of a writer Jodi really is. She doesn't get enough credit. When we talk about all these other great books and great writers, I feel like Jodi gets left out a lot, and she's a very good writer.
Yeah, I think that Jodi, well, like you said before, Josh, Jodi really understands the character. She just gets Faith. She has the right voice for the character. And then I also wanted to say that Marguerite Sauvage is one of the great pieces of this, the early stuff of Jody Houser's work with the character was those little vignettes where we got all the art done by Marguerite Sauvage. I think that was beautiful.
Did you like the Christmas special?
So, lots of good stuff. The Christmas special was weird. It looked really, really good, right?
It's a bit weird. It's just I think Sauvage wrote that one too, didn't she?
I think she did.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just not something that really stands out.
It wasn't for me, I think that it was great for a Faith fan, but I'm a Bloodshot fan. I'm a Livewire fan and a Ninjak and Exo Manowar and Galab fan. So I just also happen to enjoy some of the Faith stories and aspects of Faith. But I'm not, that quintessential Faith fan personally. So I think that for somebody that is the quintessential Faith fan, I think that Christmas special is probably pretty awesome, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to having every Faith variant. I've had so many chances to pick up a lot of the books, and I've gone with it. You know, I don't. There's nothing big that I have every cover of. Like Eric's always got every Bloodshot book, and I'm not quite there. I'm trying, damn it, but I'm pretty close on Faith. There's not too many of these books I need either. So I feel like sadly this will be the one that I could probably do before Bloodshot or Shadow Man or Harbinger or Exo, and all those books now I'm just like so close to being done. But oh well.
Then you got to get 9.8s on all of them after that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care at all about that.
100% 9.8s. Go.
Yeah. We're not all DBS.
Yeah. That, and I think Moose is close to Bloodshot run at that too. So pretty wild to do that, but a cool character nonetheless. And like we said, we're excited to see more, especially within Harbinger. That's kind of where I'm at. So
yeah, I definitely want to see more Faith. I think that doing minis here and there is a really great way to keep her active and not burn anybody out on her. I think that she's a good character and definitely deserves having a book. And I think that there's a market for a Faith book, right? So I definitely think that it's a good thing to have her, continuing to get stories out there. And hopefully we do get more. Hopefully we get another mini because, like the one I talked about, Faith in the Future Force, I thought that was a lot of fun. I do also think that Faith Dreamside was a lot of fun, and I would love to see more. Right. Absolutely.
And then Connection the World is mentioning the YA book that is coming. So there is a YA book. The YA basically is description that it is not for me. The synopsis does not sound like it's for me. And it doesn't sound like it's necessarily the Faith that we know. It's a lot like a reimagined character. But yes, there is that. And I want to support Valiant and everything they do, and this is one I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be getting the Faith novel. Maybe I'll pick it up. But I'm glad that they're doing it. I'm glad that they're putting more Faith out there, and I'm glad that they're catering to the audience that Faith is designed for. I think that she fits a YA audience. I think that's the kind of book Faith would read, right? And I think that it makes it appropriate to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I think for me, like, I know when Hollywood and Vine came out, Valiant had tons of good press on the character and as a company as a whole. And I wish that they could have cashed in a little bit more on that, and done something to kind of promote the rest of their line. It seemed like a lot of people wanted to talk about Faith, and that's what we're doing right now. But I also think about that. I'm like, man, I just wish that you could have ran with that momentum and had every book kind of garner a little bit more, talking points with like the press, just to kind of get the word out about the company. Because it seemed like people only really wanted to talk about Faith, and that's fine. But all those little things, I just wish that could have worked out better. Would have been that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Faith is a great character. I think that she definitely appeals to a lot of people, and I'm totally down for more Faith crossovers. If her presence would bring notoriety to other books,
yeah,
I'm down. But yeah, I think it's awesome that Valiant is giving us these heroes of the week, and I'm glad that Faith got the spotlight on her, and hopefully we will get to see another awesome hero next week. I have no idea who it's going to be or whether they're going to be doing a karaoke contest or paintball or whatever the case may be. But yeah,
it would be cool if it was 4 super obscure characters who have never had their own book. That will make you think about what your favorite story is then, huh?
It'll be Warmonger.
Nope, she's had a mini.
That is true. That is true. She did have her own book. Oh man, I don't know. It'll be the United.
You get
Armorines.
You get Ultimo. You can have Circadian. You can have shit.
Yeah, the Armorines. Oh, we need an Armorines book. Let's bring
Thomas,
that back.
you can have Thomas Edison.
Sting?
And he would get my
Yes.
No, we already had him. Betamax. There you go. Kingman's got it. What? Thank you, Sean.
Holy
we appreciate it, man. I think that's the first super chat we've had, so that's right.
That can go towards fixing any kind of computer stuff that John has to do. So
yeah,
but thank
up
you
Josh's
very much.
speed so he doesn't fall on us again.
Yeah.
Okay, where would you like me to
Sean,
move him, Sean? Right here, next to you. Let's have him follow your chat. He's going to follow that. Just okay.
That's very generous of you to do that. No one ever needs to feel like they need to do that, though. But thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. If we
awesome.
never make a penny off this, it's quite okay. But thank you, Sean. I think Sean's actually just paying us back all the times he's won something.
Yes, that's great though, man. We appreciate that. Yeah.
That's why he gets his name in the hat 3 times. No, it's joking.
Yeah. Man.
Dude, we should do that the next chat. This might be an offline, but next time we have a giveaway, you could probably get an extra name by paying us money.
Yeah. No.
Oh, that'd be a terrible way to do giveaways.
That comment. Wink.
Yeah.
Wink.
We won't let that happen. It's an exclusive for you guys right here.
Yeah. No, we appreciate everybody who watches, who listens. Definitely, enjoy the interaction that we get by doing this as a live YouTube show. Obviously, doing it as a live show, you guys are here and you see the technical difficulties when they happen, and you see a little bit more of the behind the scenes than you would otherwise. But I think that's part of the great thing about doing this as a live YouTube show. It gives us an opportunity to interact with people live. It gives people an opportunity to contribute to the show. So it's not just the 3 of us talking. We have, making contributions. Sean making more than one kind of contribution. We have Scott Bloom, who's always hanging out with us and making contributions to the conversation. Jay Kingman.
Face number 1 fan, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Face number 1 fan. Glad that he was able to be here when we got to talk about Faith. And yeah, we'll see if Betamax is the next hero of the week. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Hey, as we're getting ready to wrap up, I wanted to give a shout out real quick. You don't have to make my screen any bigger for this or anything, but Dodson gave me this Solar Man of the Atom sketch card, which I think was his art win of the week. So humongous
cool.
Thanks to that dude. Yeah, I think I've got 2 VCF art winners.
Yeah,
in my collection.
He made me a 1%, one of his little roundlings. So shout out to him. That's awesome of him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm all about. Yeah. So everybody should send me their art. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But huge thanks to him. It was really awesome. I just made a comment like, I always see people that end up with those, and I was like, oh, how do I get one of those? And he was just like, give me your address, pick a character. So I picked Solar because we were talking about Unity last week, and he was pretty quick. He was like,
that's cool.
Eric,
thank you.
Not sure if he watches. Not sure if he watches. He may never know that we even talked about him, but that dude rules.
Hey, doesn't matter. Yeah.
But I know in my heart that we talked about him, and that's all that matters.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
No, we definitely appreciate everybody who watches, who listens, who hangs out with us. As we move forward to our future episodes, we will eventually talk about that happen at some point. The DVD is now out, so we're all gonna take an opportunity, rewatch the movie another 20, 60 times, and then we will talk about it. And
Amazon says I get my 4K tomorrow, so I'm crossing my fingers.
I got my tracking. My tracking is working. It's just not here.
Yeah.
But I ended up buying mine off eBay. I found a better deal than I did with Amazon. So that might have been the flaw why I don't have mine yet.
I'll see when I get it physically. I've got the digital copy, so I don't feel any rush to get a physical copy.
I just want to see those extra scenes and the ending. That's what I want, because I love the ending that was in the book. So I'm ready for that.
I still need to buy the book. I still need to buy the action figure. I need to buy some stuff.
Spend some money, Josh. I mean,
you gotta have.
Come on.
Well,
you gotta have Bloodshot hanging out.
Yeah. We'll see what I can do. If that might be our next episode next week. We might talk about Bloodshot since there's no books.
That's it.
Yeah, we finally got through the books.
Yeah. So Valiant, make some more books, please.
Yeah. We're ready.
Or just send us some. Like, what do you have that's not been released? Let's just get like really wild on it. Come on.
Yeah, whatever you got in the can, we want to read it.
Like let's close
out.
How
far ahead can you send us digital copies of?
Let's close out Quantum and Woody. How about that? Let's get some. Let's get that last issue of Quantum and Woody. That'd be fun. I'm down for that. And maybe second issue.
I want to read that.
Let's rock out.
I want to read it. Awesome.
I've got the second issue of Exo. It's just not colored.
Oh, I still need to read that.
Now you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, for listening, for supporting us. Even if you can't go above and beyond like Sean did. Thanks, everybody. We definitely appreciate your support and supporting Valiant. Continue supporting Valiant and everything that they're doing. And we will talk about the next hero of the week from Valiant. So thanks, everybody. Signing off. I'm Eric Baumgard.
I'm Josh Rathbun.
That was Josh. I'm Hooser. Later.
And we'll see you